Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker, and you are listening to Picks and Pours, episode 41. Today is Thursday, October the 3rd. Can you believe it's October already? It's hard for me because it's fall. Like, as far as the calendar is concerned, it's fall, but it's still damn near 90 degrees here in Florida. Still in a bit of the rainy season as well. Just got through this hurricane. Hope everybody out there got through it okay. I know it did a lot of damage, especially once it hit the mainland. No Matt the mechanic this week. I did send him the link just in case he's able to pop on, but he was driving back home to visit his family up in Ohio and hit a lot of traffic with the imminent shipping strike looming. A lot of the truckers trying to, get some last minute work in before they all have to go on strike for who knows how long. Hopefully they don't go on strike at all. Hopefully this thing just gets settled and everybody gets what they're looking for. I don't know much about all that. I just I hope everybody ends up happy and these truckers are able to get back to work. In any case, Matt did send along some very detailed notes about his picks for UFC 307. I'm excited to get into them. I'm also excited to share some personal news with you guys. And I'm typically not a person to talk about my own accomplishments or achievements. It's just never been the kind of person I am, but something came up that I'm particularly proud of. I received a surprise promotion at my Muay Thai gym last night, and I got my purple monk call from my instructor, Crew Matthew McCusker, at our gym, MJM, City of Tong, Clearwater. And I now have the title of Crew in Muay Thai. So for those of you who don't study Muay Thai, Crew means teacher in Thai. So this was a really special promotion for me because I've been teaching Muay Thai for, I guess, about 4 or 5 years now at MJM. Matt moved down here about 6 years ago, and he was the Muay Thai instructor at the jiu-jitsu gym where I was training. And he and I hit it off. So when he wound up leaving that gym, I followed him for Muay Thai instruction, and we were just training in his driveway. Matt, of course, comes from the City of Tong camp up in Boston, up in New England, under Mark Delagrati, the famous Mark Delagrati, who has trained countless UFC fighters, legends, Kenny Florian, Jorge Rivera, Marcus Davis, just to name a few. So it was Matt and I training in his driveway, and eventually, a few more guys would come along, and we'd be having pad sessions, and eventually he put like a big raised platform in his driveway and put mats on top of it, and we'd be out there sparring, hitting pads, drilling, and then he opened his own little gym in Clearwater. It was a tiny little warehouse space. He has since upgraded that space twice, and now he's in, I believe it's an 11,000 square foot facility in Clearwater with 2 big mat areas, a big heavy bag area, 2 boxing rings, cardio equipment, weight room, the whole deal. So I've been with him through all of that. So I've been with him for 6 years, and it's been a big part of my almost 14-year journey in Muay Thai, which I started back in New York. So to finally reach the rank of crew or teacher was a really cool thing for me. He caught me by surprise at the end of a class that I was teaching, so he promoted me in front of all my students, and it was a really cool moment. And not to get too long-winded about it, but back in 2016, one of my favorite fighters was a guy by the name of Rich Franklin. He was a middleweight champion, and he was fighting this guy who had come over from Japan that not a lot of people knew too much about. His name was Anderson Silva. I don't know if you've heard of him. And I remember I was going to school at University of Albany in upstate New York, and when the UFC pay-per-views would come on, now at this time, I know I'm going to sound like a grandpa telling this story. At this time, they weren't every month like they are now. They would be every 3 or 4 months. So, we'd try to make a thing of it. We would go out to Buffalo Wild Wings at the mall and set up camp and watch the fights. And there was not nearly as many people into it as there is now. But I remember I was rooting for Rich Franklin. I didn't know too much about this Anderson Silva guy. And Anderson Silva comes out and absolutely demolishes Rich Franklin. And he did this thing where he grabbed him by his head and was pulling his head down and kneeing him in the face until he knocked him out. And it was something called a tie clinch. And I remember seeing that and thinking like, oh shit, I want to learn how to do that. And, now I'm the tie clinch instructor at MJM City of Dong Clearwater. So it's kind of a cool full circle thing how I saw this happen on TV at a Buffalo Wild Wings in college. And I thought, I want to learn how to do that. And now I'm the one teaching other people how to do it. So really cool experience. It was, he definitely caught me off guard. And then it was just it was a wild and crazy busy weekend for me, which is why I didn't do an episode earlier in the week on the card that just passed. Hanato Moicano and Benoit Saint Denis. I'll talk about that a little bit. But Saturday night, I was doing commentary for Sunset Fight Promotions, which is a local amateur Muay Thai promotion. Incredible. Amazing fights. Amazing. I had no voice left. I thought I had lost my voice by the third fight, and I was able to bring it back. And then during the co-main event, I threw my voice out completely. And I struggled through the main event, but luckily it did not go the distance. So I was fortunate there. WBC regional amateur champions that night, and it was a crazy exciting night of fights. It was a late night for me, but then I was up early the next morning. I had to leave the house at 7:30 to go back to the gym where we were having some exhibition fights hosted there. And I was refereeing as well as cornering one of my fighters and a couple of my teammates for that. And yes, I can referee and corner the same event. There's no conflict of interest because they're just exhibitions. They don't go on anybody's record. But yeah, wild and crazy weekend. Another little bit of news. This coming Tuesday, I'm going to be flying to Salt Lake City, Utah to corner my friend Michael Heckert, who's going to be making his Karate Combat debut. So that's going to be really exciting. It was kind of a last minute thing. He had a trainer who was going to go out with him, but they started a new job and couldn't take the time off. So Mike and I had trained together at MJM for a while back in the day. We've always kept in touch. You may have seen me interview him at one of the bare knuckle events after he won a bare knuckle fight in Orlando. So I'm going to be going out there to corner him, and it's going to be a good time. So if you're going to be out there at Karate Combat 50 in Salt Lake City, find me and say hello. And yeah, so just so many things going on at once. I've been really diving deep into the combat sports world. I've been more immersed in it than usual, and I'm really grateful and really thankful for everything that's been going on in my life, in terms of the combat sports and everything in my life, really. Everything's been great. So, cheers to all of you into combat sports. Guys, tell me in the comments that you know who Rich Franklin is, so I don't feel as old as I felt telling that story. Please let me know. All right. I'm not going to get into UFC Paris too much. I'm just going to say Brian Battle looked awesome, dominant in there against Kevin Jousset. William Gomi got a split decision win over Joe Anderson Brito. I don't know if that one was really called right. Let me know what you guys thought about that one. Then Nasruddin Imavov defeats Brendan Allen. It looked like Brendan Allen was just going to mow over Imavov. And then, he got that big takedown in the first round and he was pretty dominant. But then he just seemed to get in his head or something. I don't know what happened there. I know he was upset about some stuff with the commission testing him right after weigh-ins, and they did it to Moicano too. But let's talk about Moicano, man. This, to me, probably the most impressive performance of the year so far, and I'll tell you why. He goes out there against this absolute killer, Benoit Saint Denis. Okay, this guy was straight murdering people until he ran into, the right hook of Dustin Poirier. Takes him down in the first round, beats the shit out of him. And then everybody was saying, oh, he took the second round off. He's just relaxing now. Turns out he broke his collarbone in half. Did I get that right? I mean, they showed the x-ray. It looks like this bone right here was completely separated. Still pieces up Benoit Saint Denis in the second round. Like nothing happened. Like he just had a little splinter or something, a paper cut. He was like, yeah, this is broken, but whatever. I got a fight to win in front of this guy's hometown crowd. Let me just make sure his face is all the way swollen shut before I worry about this broken arm. I mean, what a bad motherfucker Renato Moicano is. So Benoit Saint Denis gets out of the second round, but rightfully so. The doctor comes in and looks, and he's like, this guy's face is swollen the fuck shut. We can't let him keep going. Mark Otter was like, you know what? You're right. Let's call this thing off. Heartbreaking loss for me. My buddy and a friend of the show, Matt the Steamroller Frivola, knocked out with a nasty knee towards the end of the third round in his fight by Fares Siam. Now, it was, Steamroller is never out of a fight, but, he definitely wasn't doing well. But, he's the kind of guy, he can end it with one shot at any time. And, for that reason, because he's that kind of fighter, he's willing to put himself in situations where, he can get himself put out at any time. And that's what happened here. He wasn't necessarily doing anything wrong. He was trying to break the grip of Ziam and turn into him. And Ziam just crazy flexible. I mean, the way he threw that knee, most people would not be able to do that or anything close to it. So the guy's, got some freakish physical gifts, and, he used them. Credit to him. It was a great win. It's going to be, an all-time highlight for him. But as always, I'm going to support my buddy, Matt Frivola. No matter what, I hope he takes a good amount of time off. I know he's still enjoying some time with his family over in Europe. So I hope they're having a great trip, with his young baby over there. And, yeah, man, I hope he recovers quick. It was hard to watch, especially since it took him a while to get back up. It's always tough to see things like that happen to your friends and people and have interacted with, and they're good people. But, that's just the name of the game. As always, Steamroller took it, with nothing but class, and was even taking pictures with Ziam after the fight, and had a smile on his face not long after the fact, and that's why you gotta love the guy, and it's his attitude, um, and man, that was a tough one. It was a tough one to watch. I gotta pour myself another little drink here. So, having a little tequila, just a touch. This is Three Amigos Reposado. This is an additive-free tequila, and reposado, all that means is it's slightly aged. So they distill the agave, however they do it, and they age it in some oak barrels just for a little while, just to get a little, just a little of that yellow char to it. And this is nice. It's got those nice vanilla-y tequila notes and additive free. I don't know if you guys are into that or not, but with tequila, even if it says 100% agave on the label, legally they're still allowed to put up to 1% of additives, so coloring or flavoring or whatever kind of chemicals they want to put in there. But there are tequilas out there that have actually zero additives, and with a quick Google search you can find out what those are. But I can tell you one of those brands, Three Amigos. Good, nice tequila. All right, folks. Let's get into UFC 307. And this is a fun card. I'm excited for this one. So, first fight on the main card, Kevin Holland and Roman Dolidze. So, let me just pull this up real quick. This is a fun fight. So Kevin Holland's coming off of that fight where he broke Mikhail Olajanchik's arm back in June. Before that, back-to-back losses to Michael Venom Page and Jack Della Maddalena. For this one, against Dolidze. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Little tequila, clear that right up. Dolidze coming off a win over Anthony Smith, also in June, and also has back-to-back losses before that fight. So both of these guys are very hot and cold, right? I wouldn't call either of them consistent fighters. And when you're going to bet on fighting, what you're really looking for is consistency. You're not really looking at the matchup. How consistently does one guy perform? Even if they consistently don't perform well, like this guy never does well against grapplers, and he's fighting a grappler, so I kind of know how to bet this one. In this one, it's kind of a coin toss because both of these guys can be inconsistent. So, Matt the Mechanic, like I said, sent me some notes, and he sent me his picks. Kevin Holland is a minus 148 favorite. Roman Dolidze, a plus 124 underdog. So pretty close to even money on this one. But what Matt says here, and I agree, that Kevin Holland is too unpredictable to take as the favorite. So I think probably whoever was going to be the underdog, he was going to bet the underdog money because both of these guys are inconsistent. That's what I'm guessing anyway. That's kind of what I would do as well. Excuse me. We got the judo queen, Kayla Harrison, coming off her UFC debut victory over Holly Holm. She's getting in there with Ketlin Vieira. Vieira, UFC veteran. She's been in the UFC since 2016. Back, she's been there since way back when I was talking about, Rich Franklin in the UFC. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, guys. The Rich Franklin thing was 2006. All right, so this was all right, but she's still been in the UFC a good amount of time, good 8 years here. So, um, in her last fight, unanimous decision win over Pani Kianzad, and then a loss to Raquel Pennington before that by split decision. So, and she also has a win over Holly Holm. It was not as dominant as Kayla Harrison's win over Holly Holm. So, the X factor here, and I haven't seen any video of Kayla training. I've just seen her doing interviews and stuff, so I don't know how she looks physically. Obviously, the concern with her is making that 135 pounds, right? As far as her performance goes, I would say she's amongst the best in the world. Skill wise, she's definitely up there. I know she fought at 145 pounds a few times, and that was a difficult cut for her. And she mostly fought at 155 pounds when she was in the PFL. So, will the weight cut be an issue now that she's 34 years old and she's just now competing at the lightest she's ever competed? I think when she was in the Olympics, she competed in judo at 170 pounds, somewhere around there. So, she's a big, strong gal. It's going to be a tough cut, but like I said before her fight with Holly Holm, if there's anyone who has the discipline to do it and to find out a way to win and be competitive, it's Kayla Harrison. Kayla and I both spent some time training at Henzo Gracie Fort Lee, where the judo instructor was the manager of the U.S. Olympic judo team. I did train judo a little bit at that gym, and Kayla would come through and work with the classes from time to time, but I was never in the class while she was doing that. I was mostly doing jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. I would jump in the judo from now and then just out of curiosity, but I was just about 30 at the time, and I was like, I don't know if my back is up for all this getting thrown business that happens in judo. So we've never really trained together, but we've trained in the same gym for what it's worth. So I'd be rooting for Kayla. So let's see what. All right, Matt the Mechanic did not make a pick for this fight. So, oh yes, he did. Yes, he did. Sorry. Oh no, he didn't. So Caitlin Vieira is a plus 675 underdog. Kayla Harrison, I'm sure she's the biggest favorite on the card, minus 1,050 at the time Matt the Mechanic submitted these notes. And he says, no bet here. These odds are ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, you've got to bet $1,050 on Kayla Harrison to win $100. But if you bet $100 on Caitlin Vieira, you win $675. I wouldn't advise you to do that, but that's what it is. Okay. What do we got here next? I'm just making sure that what I have on the card matches the notes that Matt sent me. Jose Aldo and Mario Bautista. So this is a fun fight, and credit to Jose Aldo, man, coming out of a quasi retirement and doesn't mind taking on these young lions. I mean, just outclassed Jonathan Martinez, who's like such a young stud, and now Batista on the younger side, 31. I'm saying that like Aldo is so old. He's 38, but he's been fighting for 45 years. Somehow the math checks out. But Batista on quite a streak. Unanimous decision over Ricky Simone, Damon Blackshear, Guido Canetti, Benito Lopez, Brian Kelleher, and Jay Perrin, his last wins. I would tend to side with Aldo, man, just because I just can't doubt the guy after everything he's done in the sport of MMA. So let's see. All right, Aldo's plus 124 underdog, Batista minus 148 favorite, and Matt the Mechanic pretty much leaned the way I would have anticipated. He says this is a giant step up in competition for Mario. I'll happily take the underdog, Aldo. So that's the pick for Matt Mechanic. That's who he's putting his dollar on. So take that to the bank, folks. Jose Aldo at underdog money. At one point, in Aldo's career, if you told me he was an underdog, I would be like, why? Is he fighting with one leg or something? How could Jose Aldo possibly be an underdog? But here we are. Here we are, folks. We're talking about it. It's happening. Co-main event, the champ, Raquel Pennington, taking on Juliana Pena. I don't know how to feel about this one, to be honest. This is a division that it has been hurting since the champ Amanda Nunes left. Juliana Pena hasn't fought since July of 2022. I don't know what was going on there, injuries or whatever. And man, Raquel Pennington fought in January against Mayra Bueno Silva. And the buildup for this has been, Juliana being her kind of pushy, borderline cringeworthy self, and Raquel Pennington not saying anything. And, I got to say, Pena made a good point, because Raquel Pennington said it's going to come down to who wants it more. And Juliana Pena said Raquel Pennington hasn't hyped this fight at all. She doesn't even want anybody to watch it. How bad could she want to be the champion? I want to be champion more. And that's hard to argue with, right? If one person's being willing to be the A side and trying to sell the fight, which, it's a tough sell, let's be honest. There's not a lot of people clamoring for this one. I would guess. Yeah, I would say that the person who's willing to promote the fight is the one who wants it more. It's pretty simple, deductive reasoning there. In any case, Raquel Pennington, the favorite in this one, probably due to the long layoff of Juliana Pena, minus 170, and Juliana Pena plus 142 underdog. And here's Matt the Mechanic's notes. And this is funny because I'm just reading it in Matt's voice. And he says, I'm not sure who's going to win this fight, but I know who will lose. And that will be both of us watching Saturday night. But I have to make a bet, so give me Pennington because I would never waste my money on Pena. That's I think, and I'm finding it funnier that he's not here, and I'm saying it in his voice in my head, where if he had just said that to me, it wouldn't be as funny. Because he's just very deadpan, very matter of fact. But maybe I should just have him write out his notes every time, and I should just read them. I would never waste my money on Pena. And I'm just imagining him, like, while he's driving to Ohio, having his wife type this out for him as he says it. Yeah, copy and paste the odds and make sure you put at the end, I would never waste my money on Pena. Yeah, this fight's not fun. But the main event, man, I don't know what's going on with Khalil Roundtree, but apparently, he had some legal trouble, but TKO'd Anthony Smith in December and then has just been kind of, you know, waiting in the wings. And, he was dealing with some legal trouble and was going through a rough time. And then he gets the call for this championship fight. It's really hard to go against Alex Pereira, right? Especially after what he's done. I mean, rattling off 4 in a row after losing his title to Adesanya, moves up a weight class. And in a row, Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska, Jamal Hill, Yuri Prohaska again. 3 of those finishes. I mean, this guy's just on another planet. What I've always liked about Khalil Roundtree, though, is he fights best when people underestimate him. He fights like he has a chip on his shoulder. He fights angry and not in a way that he gets too emotional in there, but he just has this ferocity and anger about him, and he combines it with elite striking technique. I mean, this guy has incredible Muay Thai. I think I can say that. I think I'm qualified. I'm a crew now. So, that's my 2 cents. But Pereira, man, he's awkward. He's unusual. He throws his strikes from weird angles. He holds his hands weird. And, that left hook of his is one of the most devastating weapons that we've seen in combat sports. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm kind of at the point where my brain says Pereira, but my gut says Roundtree is going to pull off the upset here. Odds are about what I would expect. Pereira minus 470 favorite. Khalil Roundtree plus 360. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an even wider gap there. I think a lot of people are going to be underestimating Khalil Roundtree going into this. I don't know if Pereira will or not. Nobody knows if he will or not. But no matter what happens in this fight, I hope to meet him at Karate Combat 50 when I'm out there in Salt Lake City. So that will be on Friday night, October 11th. The Friday after this pay-per-view, and supposedly Alex Pereira will be there. So, regardless of what happens, I hope to meet him. I hope Khalil Roundtree's there too. I hope I get to meet him too. That'd be awesome. Love to meet both of those guys. A lot of respect for both of them. All right, so Pereira minus 470, Khalil Roundtree plus 360. Let's see what Matt the Mechanic has to say. I'm going to take Poatan. I foresee him holding this belt for a long time, but I also said that about O'Malley. So I'm going to take my extra $1 from the Harrison fight and make a Mr. Jackpot selection. All right, pretend I just played the Mr. Jackpots sound effect. Oh, so he's taking Roundtree, TKO round 2. All right. So I see what he did here. He thinks that because he thinks Poatan's going to win, that Roundtree is going to win. I get the logic here. He's going to do it by second round TKO. Mark Fellows agrees. He says, give me Khalil over that Shama guy. KO round 1. Mark also says Pennington plus Pena equals particularly painful. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be getting up for a beer during that one. It's funny. I think a lot more people are interested in seeing Kayla Harrison fight than seeing the championship fight. And, whatever. That's the game. That's the game, folks. And Matt, of course, apologizes to all of you for not being able to make it. Like I said earlier in the show, he got stuck behind a lot of semi trucks who were trying to get their last deliveries in before the strike. So hopefully that all gets settled. Hopefully Matt and his family make it safely to Ohio, and we can kind of decompress on all this next week. I don't know if you guys can hear in my voice. I'm still struggling a little bit from losing my voice on Saturday. I'm going to need some tips from John Anik or something, how these guys do it, because their broadcasts are much longer than the ones I did. One of the problems was we didn't have headphones, and the DJ put a speaker like right behind where the commentary booth was. So I was talking over that. I was talking over the crowd. We had a rowdy crowd in Largo, Florida. But it was awesome, man. Awesome event. I got to see my buddy Noah Solomon get his hand raised in a wild back and forth fight. And he's now the WBC regional Southeastern regional champion. First time the WBC has crowned a champion in the state of Florida. So that was awesome for him. Congratulations, Noah. Let's see what else we got. I don't know if there's anything in the news. This is usually the point where Matt tells me what's going on in the news, and I just kind of react to it because he keeps up with it more than I do. I did see that Jim Miller is going to be fighting Damon Jackson at UFC 309. That's a great fight. Who knows how long Jim Miller's going to keep going. That guy's a cyborg. And that's pretty much it. I didn't watch the Contender Series this week, but I did see the clip where one of the guy's coaches just spit a bunch of water in his face. And I don't know if these coaches are just doing shit to get attention or get on camera now, or if these are really things yeah, all right, listen, man, between the second and third, if I spit water in your face, that means you got to shoot more takedowns, right? Maybe that's just the language between these coaches have with their fighters. I don't know, man. So in any case, thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been kind of a short one this week. And I will be at Karate Combat 50 next week in Salt Lake City, Utah. Looking forward to that one. All right, we got one more comment in here. This is from, I believe it's Ren. Oh, RCN. Sorry, my eyes are failing me. It says Pereira is massive compared to Khalil. That is the biggest X factor, right? Pereira is huge, man. I don't know how that guy ever made 185 pounds. He's humongous. So, yeah. In any case, Karate Combat 50. I'll be out there. Looking forward to it. Apparently, it's going on during some giant cryptocurrency event or convention or something. I don't know. There's a lot of ties between Karate Combat and crypto. I don't know. I don't even know what crypto is. So maybe I'll learn about it. Maybe I'll get to go to the convention next week. Either way, that's all I got for this week. So let me know who you guys are picking. Let me know in the comments. What's your biggest lock bet for UFC 307. I want to know. And that's all I got. So until next time, cheers, everybody. Goodbye.